Article 3, Recovery Timeline. Article Summary. This article reframes one of the most common and emotionally charged questions in stroke recovery. How long will this take? By replacing rigid expectations with a more accurate, evidence-informed perspective. Recovery is nonlinear, highly individual, and continues far beyond early clinical timelines. It reinforces a foundational principle of the Rewired runner approach. Progress is built through consistent, repeatable actions over time, not dictated by arbitrary deadlines. About the author, Mark Ford is a stroke survivor who turned ultra-marathon runner and is the founder of Rewired Runner. He helps survivors rebuild belief, energy, and purpose through movement. Read by a text-to-speech AI. Important safety. Note: this article shares lived experience supported by research, but it is not medical advice. Stroke recovery and mental health responses vary widely. If you're experiencing persistent low mood, panic, trauma symptoms, or thoughts of self-harm, please reach out to a qualified clinician or crisis support in your country. Introduction: timelines without false deadlines. The most common question I hear is, how long will this take? The honest answer: longer than you want, shorter than you fear, and almost always non-linear. Early gains can be fast, then slow down. Plateaus appear, then shift. Some things return sooner, others take years. And yes, there's an element of luck. Where and how the brain was injured matters. What the science says in plain terms: recovery is typically fastest in the first 3 months, then slows but continues. Neuroplasticity is lifelong. The brain can keep adapting with the right conditions. Progress varies by domain: movement, speech, thinking, energy, mood; by load, how much you ask of the system; and by context, sleep, stress, support. What you do repeatedly at a dose you can sustain is a powerful driver of change. Section 1. The shape of recovery. What research shows. 1. Expect a curve, not a cliff. Many survivors improve rapidly early on, spontaneous biological recovery and intensive therapy. Then the curve flattens, which can feel like stopping. It usually isn't. Think of it as entering a training phase. Smaller gains that stack when practice is specific, frequent, and fueled. 2. Domains move at different speeds. Motor function often shows clearer early gains, then slower refinements: coordination, balance, dexterity. Speech/language can improve for years with targeted, high-quality practice. Cognition/energy are highly load-sensitive. They improve, but are the first to dip under fatigue or stress. Mood/identity typically lags the body. Many of us need time to process loss and build forward. 3. Dose and distribution matter. Short, frequent practice blocks usually outperform occasional marathons. Distributed practice. Task-specific work wires the exact pathways you want. 4. Luck and load. Location/extent of injury, age, pre-stroke health, and early severity influence the starting point. After that, what you repeatedly do and recover from shapes the trajectory. Working forecast, not a deadline. Plan in 4 to 12-week blocks with specific, measurable targets. Review, adjust, repeat. Section 2. My timeline. One person's path, not a template. I can't give you your dates, but I can share mine to show that meaningful gains can keep coming well beyond the early window. Weeks 1 to 6. Acute to early rehab. Basics. First, swallow, sit, stand, and coordinate. I remember the first tiny flicker in my left shoulder after relentless effort and stimulation. Small, but it changed everything. The brain was listening. Months 2 to 4. Daily therapy rhythm. Energy crashes were common. I focused on function and safety, not speed. Around 4 months, I started running for the first time since the stroke, a slow 2 kilometers with my wife. My left arm wouldn't swing properly. 2 things helped. I'd been tapering for an 86-kilometer ultramarathon at the time of my stroke, so I was in better running shape than many survivors, and I was lucky that my stroke damage allowed this kind of graded return. I kept runs short, close to home, and treated them as gentle neuro sessions, not performance. Around 10 months, I began returning to work very gradually, a few hours, twice a week, then built up slowly over time. In hindsight, I could have given myself more recovery time first, but the graded return taught me what my new limits were. Around 12 months, I regained my driver's license after structured retesting, supported by targeted brain training to prepare for simulator and on-road assessments. Years 2 to 3, distances and day-to-day capacity stretched. Not linear. Many days were still hard. Years 4 to 6, big gains in work capacity, emotional regulation, and clarity windows. As fitness and breath support improved, I often noticed more reliable speech control and better overall energy. Year 6 to 7, I completed 3 100-kilometer ultramarathons in 7 months. That didn't happen overnight. It was the product of thousands of tiny efforts stacked over years. Even now, I pace my load. I plan around my best hours. I'm not back to before. I'm built forward for the life I live now. Section 3. Setting expectations you can live and progress with. 1. Use bands, not promises. Replace "I'll be normal in 6 months" with bands like 4 to 12 weeks, safety, foundations, early function. 3 to 12 months, proficiency in key tasks, clearer picture of strengths/limits. 1 to 3 years, deeper capacity, endurance, coordination, confidence. 3 to 7 years, refinement, bigger projects, return to complex roles, identity rebuild. 2. Choose levers you can control. Specificity. Practice the exact thing you want to improve. Frequency. Small, frequent blocks you can repeat tomorrow. Fuel and sleep. Stable energy supports plasticity. Keep nutrition and rest consistent. Pacing. Don't sprint the climb. Scale tasks before you crash. Context. Quieter environments and earlier day windows often improve quality. Review. Every 4 weeks, note one thing that improved, one that stalled, and the next tiny adjustment. 3. Expect plateaus. Treat them as training zones. Plateaus feel like nothing's happening. Often, consolidation is happening. Change one variable. Task difficulty, duration, environment. Keep the others steady and reassess in 2 weeks. 4. Hold space for emotion and identity. Grief is part of this. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's facing the course you're actually on so you can choose the next step. My turning point was realizing I wasn't rebuilding the old city. I was rebuilding a city for today. 5. Keep the belief loop turning. Action to consistency, to progress to belief, to motivation, back to action. A finished tiny step today is evidence that your brain can use tomorrow. When in doubt, shrink the goal to the next checkpoint, complete it, fuel, and come back. Section 4. The answer you can trust. How long will it take? Long enough to demand patience, short enough that today's work matters. Early changes are encouraging, but some of my most meaningful gains arrived in years 4, 5, and 6. Your path will be your own, influenced by injury, effort, support, and yes, some luck. The best way to meet an uncertain timeline is with certain steps. Specific practice, steady fuel and sleep, survivable pacing, honest reviews, and values that keep you showing up. You don't need the whole map. You need the next step and a way to take it again tomorrow. Medical and references. Full medical, legal, and conflict disclaimers are contained in the written article, as are scientific references to support and scientific statements made.